I have nothing to do with it. I had no idea what it was. A group of people got together. They drew up some conservative values, very conservative values.
On Fox News, Donald Trump tried to distance himself from the controversial MAGA mandate for leadership and governing known as Project 2025.
In some case, perhaps they went over the line, perhaps they didn't. I have no idea what Project 25 is.
But that's not true. According to Project 2025 leaders, including one who was surreptitiously recorded recently saying their plan for a possible Trump transition is the only plan.
There's no think tank, no policy organization, no battle plan creator other than us for the worldview that I think Donald Trump has and that JD has.
That Trump worldview, as articulated by Project 2025, includes firing 50,000 government workers, replacing them with Donald Trump loyalists, eliminating the Department of Education, taking partisan control of the FBI and Justice Department, stripping away LGBTQ+ rights, reducing environmental regulations, favoring fossil fuels, and giving tax cuts to the rich. Much of this and more would be done through executive orders. The plan also calls for infusing government and society with conservative Christian values. And if anybody complains, the military would be authorized by a President Trump to shoot protesters. Project 2025, as you might imagine, polls horribly. So Democrats have repeatedly linked it to Donald Trump, agitating him.
This line of attack about Project 2025 is really getting under the former president's skin, and also really frustrating that of his campaign. They have sought for months to distance themselves from this project, even though we know that many of Donald Trump's top allies and even people who are advising his current campaign are involved in drafting that actual blueprint for a transition. And so this is something that is really bothering Trump.
At the Democratic convention, the attacks were nonstop and even featured comedians.
You ever seen a document that could kill a small animal and democracy at the same time?
I hate that.
On page 584, Project 2025 calls for the elimination of protections for LGBTQ+ Americans. On page 465, Project 2025 calls for millions of people like yourself to pay more for prescription drugs like insulin. On page 459, Project 2025 resurrects a law from the 1800s called the Comstock Act to ban abortion nationwide and throw healthcare providers in jail.
Kamala Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, singled out Project 2025 during his vice presidential nomination acceptance speech and trashed Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
Their Project 2025 will make things much, much harder for people who are just trying to live their lives. They spent a lot of time pretending they know nothing about this. But look, I coached high school football long enough to know, and trust me on this, when somebody takes the time to draw up a playbook, they're going to use it. And we know if these guys get back in the White House, they'll start jacking up the costs on the middle class, they'll repeal the Affordable Care Act, they'll gut Social Security and Medicare, and they will ban abortion across this country with or without Congress. Here's the thing, it's an agenda nobody asked for. It's an agenda that serves nobody except the richest and the most extreme amongst us. And it's an agenda that does nothing for our neighbors in need. Is it weird? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's also wrong. And it's dangerous.
The danger, Democrats say, is not just in Project 2025. Former President Bill Clinton blasted Donald Trump's economic policies and noted that Republican administrations have a record of killing jobs and Democrats create them.
You're going to have a hard time believing this, but so help me, I triple-checked it. Since the end of the Cold War in 1989, America has created about 51 million new jobs. I swear I checked this 3 times. Even I couldn't believe it. What's the score? Democrats 50, Republicans 1.
The implicit message is that another Trump administration would hurt the economy and a Harris administration would help it. The effort to frighten voters about another Trump administration is also now on the airwaves. The Lincoln Project just released this ad highlighting the people who might serve in the next Trump cabinet.
A second term for Donald Trump. What will it look like? Secretary of State Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner and Ivanka Kushner walk out of the White House and months later get $2 billion from the Saudis.
Homeland Security Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
Justice Department Alina Habba.
This is where your taxpaying dollars are going, America.
FBI Director Jim Jordan.
That's as radical as you can get.
White House Press Secretary Laura Loomer.
Trespassing Nancy Pelosi's private residence.
Give me some money to fund my lawsuit.
HHS Secretary Matt Gaetz.
The House Ethics Committee has released a statement into a number of serious allegations, including sexual misconduct.
Elon Musk for whatever he wants.
Go yourself.
No wonder Trump says,
you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Negative ads generally don't bring new voters into an election campaign. Instead, the attack ads tend to suppress voter turnout. They dampen enthusiasm for the ad's target. So in frightening voters about who Donald Trump might bring to the White House and what kind of policies Trump and his associates may carry out, the goal is to diminish Trump's support. And if that means some Americans become disgusted or scared of Trump and don't vote for him or don't vote at all, that helps the margins for Democrats. To be clear, negative ads and scare tactics over Project 2025 are not enough for the Harris campaign. The Democrats still need to get voters excited about the positives and future under a Harris administration. However, attack ads and negativity do have an impact. And by all accounts, the fears over Project 2025 are breaking through, which is why Donald Trump is getting increasingly anxious over the Project 2025 attacks. By the way, Republicans are now claiming, with help from Fox News, that Tim Walz is carrying water for the government of China.
When you go to China, they surveil you. If an American goes to China 30 times in the 90s, they have surveillance footage of him.
It's very serious. China thinks long term. It's very possible that China would be grooming an up-and-coming rising star in the political process to try to have a foothold in our government.
Except that Tim Walz was a teacher at the time and did not seek political office for 12 years. So the math doesn't add up. This video generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from user RM, who wrote, $788 million in fines, and they, Fox News, are still lying. Yep. I look forward to reading your comments about an increasingly anxious Donald Trump telling voters he knows nothing about Project 2025 as the Democratic attacks on the plan and Trump keep landing. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.